So we are live. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. We are live. Hello, if you can hear me, just send the wave. Send the wave. Let me know you are hearing me. Hi. Hi, everyone. If you're live, if you can hear me, just send the wave. Hi. How are we doing? We are live. We are live. Hi. Send the wave in so that I can know that you are hearing me properly and we are here together. Hi, people. Just send an emoji. Let me know you are here and you can hear me. How are we doing? Hi. Oh, hi, Tubams. Okay, just send an emoji. Send wave, eye, whatever. Just send an emoji. Let me know you're hearing me or you're here. Hi. Let's just wait. Let's wait. Hi, IBK. I can see you. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for joining in. Hi, this just send a wave. Sending a wave. Let me know you can hear me. Hi. How's it going? We're just gonna wait for a few minutes and just let people join in. Hey, Tech Corner. We're just gonna wait for a few minutes and let other people join in, and then we can invite our guests. We're going to talk about how to navigate or transition into tech from a non-tech background. Honestly, this is a question I have gotten a lot. How can I get into tech if I'm not a tech person? All that good questions. So we're gonna be answering all of this today. Just send in a wave. Let me know you can hear me. Hi. Hi to Canada. The Mama of Canada. I can see you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so we'll just be discussing how we can transition into tech. You know, a lot of people want to eat the tech money, want to eat the IT money. Yes. So let's talk about this today. Hi. Let's just wait for a few minutes and then we'll start. I'll just invite the guest and then we'll start. How is our day going? I mean, for us here in Canada, we're going into the summer, so it's like summer body loading. And I'm pretty excited because it's been a whole year of putting on winter jackets and all the overall. I know my Canada people can relate to this. Hi, Fola. Yeah, so let's just yes, Lolly, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. One more minute and then we would invite our guest to talk to us today. I have a very wonderful guest in here. I'm just gonna try to invite our guest. Well, okay. Invite our guest here. Hiya.
Hi.
Hi, Tech Corner. Ozana, nice to talk to you finally here.
You too. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good as well, thank you.
How's the weather over there?
Oh, it's okay. It's not raining, but it's still a bit cold, to be honest.
Oh, it's like how many degrees is it?
Oh, 16.
Oh, 16? And that's good.
That's it.
You know, for us here in Canada, 16 degrees, like, just put on your singlets and just go out.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you guys get minus 10 degrees over there, so yeah.
Okay.
That's
I'm so
fun.
excited to have you on here, and thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for coming on this live with me.
Of course.
And yeah, I'm just going to do a little introduction about Ozana. We've not met in person, but we met on Instagram.
Yeah.
Ozana is doing really good. She's a content creator, and she's an Azure specialist. So she's going to tell us where she works. I'm not going to do that introduction, but she's an Azure specialist. She's specific into tech sales. And she's going to tell us about her journey on, you know, becoming a tech person and how is it like for you? Yeah.
Yeah, that works for me. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Perfect.
Okay, so
yeah.
we're just going to jump right into it. I would allow you to introduce yourself a bit. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for having me. So yeah, I'm Hosanna. I am an Azure specialist at Microsoft at the moment. So I work in the tech sales part of the business, and I specialize in cloud computing, which is essentially like Siri. If you know, not Siri, iOS, iCloud on your phone. That's essentially what it is. But I work with like the enterprise version, which is for businesses. So I sell B2B, not B2C. And I've been as an Azure specialist for just over 2 years, but I've been at Microsoft for almost 5 years now.
Oh, great. So how is it like working in Microsoft?
Yeah, it's good. It's a really great company to work for. The culture's good. The people are great. It's a lot of work. It's hard work, but yeah, you're always around really clever people. So that's really interesting.
That's awesome. That's great. I mean, so yeah, you know, we get this question a lot, like how do we, you know, navigate into the tech space if I am not a tech person? So I'm just going to allow you to share a little bit of your experience as someone that has probably not been, before you got into the tech space. What were you doing? And yeah, how did you get into the tech sales?
Yeah, sure. So before, I've worked at Microsoft my entire career, but before that I was at university. So I did one degree, my first degree in business. So I wasn't a tech person at all. I did do some STEM, just like in school, like sciences and stuff, but I hadn't done any technical stuff. So that was my first degree. But then I did my second degree, that was in computer science. So that's when I learned to kind of code and stuff. I did what we have them in the UK. You may have them other places now as well, but we have like conversion degrees, which is essentially when you don't have a background in something, you can do another degree to kind of help you get that background, like a more intense version of like a degree, so like a shorter version. Yeah, so shorter. So we have it for law. Traditionally, it was meant to be for like law, like lots of people from law, non-law backgrounds were doing it to get into law, but then the government realized obviously that we had a big gaps of skills, so a skill gap where there's not enough people with technical skills, so they started doing it for tech as well. So that's what I did, and then once I finished university, I did plan on becoming like a software engineer. That's always my plan, but then I realized that it wasn't as interesting for me. So I ended up going into tech sales, and yeah, I've worked at Microsoft since.
Okay. Just for people joining us, or you know that's just joining us, Ozana is in the United Kingdom, and she works with Microsoft as a tech sales Azure specialist. So just for people joining us again, just like a brief introduction. So yeah, you said you did business for your first degree, and then your second degree was in computer science, and then you wanted to be is it an Azure? What did you say you wanted to be?
So originally I was planning to be a software engineer. So a programmer, but then I ended up in software. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So did you need to like learn how to code before you got into this space? Like, did you have to learn how to code or?
No, not for my job. So if you work in tech sales, you won't need to know how to code. I mean, it always helps to have a technical background, but there's plenty of people who don't have a technical background and they work in my role and are succeeding and doing very well. The most you need is just knowledge of the solution. So you need to be able to talk about it, but you don't need to have to actually be the one to do it.
Okay, so what's one of the biggest challenge that you could say that you've encountered being in the tech sales? So like somebody who is in the tech sales, you need to know about the product. So we're talking about Microsoft at the moment right now. You need to be able to talk about some of these products and how to use them. Yeah. So if you're someone that never has like a technical background or anything, how do you navigate this space? How are you going to be able to explain to someone that is not non-technical?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing about working in anywhere within kind of the tech space is that you're always learning. Like it's a constant learning, and there's an expectation of you to finish all your certifications, to go on all your training programs. That's just part of the role. If you don't do it, you won't succeed in it. So that would be the first thing. Like you just have to learn. If a lot of people say it's no different than learning a new language or learning anything that you learn before, even like when you're like reading a self-help book, right? Or doing any sort of training. You just have to learn. And yeah, that's probably the biggest challenge, I would say, because technology is always changing. So, we're always working on things, and then there was an announcement today that was like, oh no, we're not doing that anymore. We've upgraded the system, so you need to learn what this does now, and let's scrap what we were doing before. So it's just about learning as much as possible.
Okay, so pretty much the first thing to do, like if you're someone that's never had the technical experience or someone that is never an IT person, the first thing is you need to be ready to learn, right? Yeah. So the first thing is you need to be ready to learn, because in the technological space, like there are always changes that comes up. So you need to move with the trend. So for example, now you're just starting and you don't have any experience. The first thing is open your mind. So you need to open your mind to be able to take in whatever changes. So you're set to take in changes that comes. So the first thing is be open to learn, like willingness to learn. And another thing is I was reading some times ago, there are so many other professions that doesn't look like it's tech. So for example, you're in the insurance space, or there's something they call insurance tech, and or you're a food person, like maybe you studied food sciences when you were in university or something, and there's something you can do as a food science person. You can move into the food tech space. So like literally every part where you are right now, you can actually move into the tech space of those things. So it's pretty much you being able to convert what you have or what skills that already, converting it into the tech side of it. I believe that's like, one thing that helped you, like majorly that helped you, right? Yeah. So like for Ozana was, she did business for her first degree, or you did business for your first degree, and then you are now a tech salesperson, right? So you're converting your business ideas into selling technological products for Microsoft, right? Yeah,
exactly. Okay. Yeah, it's that transferable skills.
Yeah, transferable skills. So that's like the thing, transferable skills. So whatever skills that you are in, if you are in the food industry or, you are in the insurance space or the finance, banking, there's something you call fintech, there's something you call insurance tech, there's something you call food tech. There's always a technical part of whatever space that you are into. Yeah, so I think that's like one thing that really helped you. So for someone that doesn't have like a coding background and wants to go into the tech space, because that's like really the big thing for us here. I don't have a coding background and I want to go into the tech space. So what kind of professions or what kind of places can they start? Like where can they go into? Like example of jobs that they can pick up, that doesn't require coding.
Yeah, so there's loads of jobs within the tech industry that don't require coding. Like if you think about the tech industry, it goes from kind of the solution being created all the way until the solution is on the market. So there's a big journey across from that, right? And at this end, that's where the coding happened. That's where the product is developed. And the more you get to the other end, is like the less technical it becomes, and it becomes more non-technical, because you are on this end, you're selling to the customer, right? You're talking to customers, so you don't need to be super technical. So I would say there's lots of areas. So obviously, there's all the things in tech sales. So my role, like a solution specialist, solution engineer, solution architect, business managers, customer success managers or post sales. But then there's other areas like project managers, product managers, sometimes have a technical background, but it really depends on the company. So there's kind of like business analysts. There's really a lot of kind of different roles that you can go into that don't have, you're not necessarily coding full time. Okay,
so Ozena mentioned some part like customer success specialist, like business analyst. I think I see someone commenting here that business analyst, project management. These are tech roles that you can actually start from if you don't really want to code, right? So these are like roles that you can start with, that would enhance your journey into the tech space, right? So as you said, you were mentioning tech sales, that you are really into tech sales. So if, for instance, I want to go into tech sales, because like tech sales is something that is really good. Like I feel like that's like an entry point for people that don't know about this product. So for people that want to get into Microsoft, for instance, and they don't have any idea about how Microsoft's product works, so being a tech salesperson, it would definitely help them to understand how these products work, right? So how can you explain to us, like, can you just tell us, like, how can we get into tech sales, if that's like what some people want to consider?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say with tech sales, the first thing to think about is kind of like what solution you want to actually work with, like what you want to sell. So within tech sales, there's software and hardware. And then I won't go too deep into it because it'll get too technical, but essentially software is all the systems obviously that you use on your laptop, so all the software, and then you can also sell physical devices as well. So think about what products you want to be. I'm obviously in cloud computing, but some people are in other areas. They're in customer CRM. So if you think about like companies like Salesforce, are obviously they have tech sellers in that space as well. So thinking about what you want to sell, and then usually if you're very entry level, then there are roles like business development manager and sales development manager roles that are more for people who are just beginning and don't require as much technical or sales skills. So these would be the roles I would look for if you are wanting to go in. But if you want to go kind of like be with the big dogs, I guess, the Microsoft, the Google, the Amazon, then you have to really understand their solutions, and they have their own certifications and their own training for understanding what AWS is, which is Amazon, GCP, which is Google, obviously, and Azure, which is Microsoft. There's also kind of like Oracle and other smaller cloud vendors who also have tech sellers in that space too.
Okay. So, so what you're saying is, if we want to go into tech sales, we need to understand what products or what solutions that we want to like go into, right? So, if you're recommending for a beginner, like what kind of solution would you recommend that it's not difficult for people that want to start? We're not really looking at the big guys. We're not going to look at Microsoft or look at Amazon. The big guys, like just.
But yeah, I guess one thing to say that there isn't really an easy tech solution. I get that question a lot. People be like, "Oh, is there an easy tech role?" Like, there isn't, right? Because it's technical. The minute that you are in tech, you have to kind of know what you're talking about. But I would say probably go for the ones which are more popular. If you're really interested in kind of tech sales, and those tend to be, CRMs, like I said, Salesforce, and then also what's the word I'm looking for? Like working solutions. I can't remember the workplace solutions. So things like Slack, Office 365, you know, any of the Power Power BI, Power platform type of things. Those are really popular. And then obviously cloud computing is really popular as well. All the biggest tech companies in the world have a cloud solution. So rather than thinking about what's easy, think about what's popular and is more likely to get you hired, right? Like there's a huge demand for AWS people, huge demand for Azure people as well.
Okay, so that takes me to like the next thing we'll talk about, which is certifications. So like I mentioned based on what Ozana said, that we need to be open-minded. So if you want to go into tech, you need to be open-minded. Another thing is you need to be ready to take certifications, right? There is no small certification, but I feel like that's a good place to start. So like for the most part, when you have certifications, it doesn't guarantee that you get a job, but it's actually a good place to start. So if you have like a background in other places like business, or you did like a food tech or a food science course, or something that wasn't related ever, sales, something that was never related to tech. If you take certifications, that can actually help you to understand how to balance this up, you know. So I feel like taking certifications would really, really help to get you started. You understand? And there are some certifications that you can take that do not require coding. That you can start. That you can start with. You can start with ITIL. That's like something that just talks generally about service delivery or things like that. So there are certifications in tech that you can take that do not require coding. You know, I feel like coding is one very big thing that people run away from. Even I myself, I actually don't like coding. I don't like coding, but I mean, I just find myself there, but like I don't like coding, right? So there are certifications that you can start with that do not require coding that you can take. And then another thing that I think help people that I speak with that want to go into tech is volunteering. So for instance, someone that likes to like solve little problems, maybe something as little as your phone got damaged and you're able to figure out how to fix it. Like you volunteer to help somebody. Oh, I can help you do this and all of that. So you can actually develop passion from doing that. That little thing that you're doing. So these are things that can actually help you to get into the tech space or to transition into tech from a non-technical background. And don't really like zero your experience, like maybe you feel like you don't have you studied business and it doesn't relate to tech. Like I said earlier, there are things that every of the profession that you have has the tech side of it. Even being a medical doctor, there's the biomedical part of being a medical doctor or a nurse, so there's actually the tech side of every of these things that we so like as a tech person, Ozana, do you recommend like any form of side gig or a side hustle that we can do, like for some people that want to work from home remotely? Like what kind of jobs do you recommend? I think you made a post on it sometimes like recently about work from home or work remotely. I feel like a lot of people want to work remotely, and I feel like that's a good place to start too.
I mean, if you want to do stuff that are kind of tech related, to be honest, the more the difficulty is that the more technical you are, the more likely you are to get to work from home. So that's one thing to think about. Like if working from home is really important to you, then I would say definitely go more towards the technical stuff. So become a web developer, a software engineer, a data analyst, data engineer, and stuff like that. Anything that you don't need to be with people to do that. But there's a lot of tech sellers who also work remotely as well now, who don't go into the office because the tools are so good. So it's kind of really thinking about what you're interested in. But if you just want to start something on the side, then do things that you can freelance for sure. So kind of SEO, marketing, I would say definitely web development. And web development on its own can often be easier than kind of full-blown kind of software engineering as well. So definitely look at those roles where you can kind of just start something by yourself, supporting people with applications, without kind of having to be a part of a team or anything like that.
Yeah, so somebody is asking a question here, like, do you think data analytics has some coding involved?
Yes, yeah, it does. Most strong data analysts can code. I think there's more tools, not for you to require coding, but if you're a data analyst and you want to be quite successful, then I'd recommend that you learn how to do Python and maybe some R as well.
I feel like we'll just have a different section on becoming a data analyst, because I see quite a number of questions on data analyst and questions on that.
Yeah.
So we probably would just have to somebody is asking that, can you create an app from scratch?
I can't personally, or it would take me a little bit of learning to go back and learn that again, but plenty of people can. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there are a lot of people that can create apps, but Ozana is into tech sales, so she's not a software developer. So somebody who creates code, or who creates softwares, who writes code, is actually a software developer, and you need to be able to write in different languages like C#, Java, and Python, and all of those good languages. Somebody's asking that, can we take certifications without the need for a formal education?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, certifications are to help you with your learning. You don't need to have had a degree or anything to take certifications. Anyone can do them, and most tech companies offer like free foundational ones. So if you really want to learn about Azure, like what I do, Microsoft offers free training days where you can go and there'll be an instructor that just teaches you the basics and stuff like that and helps you to get your certification.
Yeah, so you really don't need a formal education to get into writing certifications. You need to just have the passion for it. So if you're like, I'm into cybersecurity.
Right.
So if you're someone that really likes the security part of it, you can actually take certifications in security. You don't have to have a formal education.
No.
I did not study security in my first degree at all. I didn't do anything about that. So you don't need to have a formal education in order to take certifications. All you need to do is to have the passion for it. That will drive you to write the exams and all of that. So I have a question here. Somebody said, what do you think, I guess, about getting into tech through an apprenticeship?
Good question. Yeah, I think I'm a massive advocate of apprenticeships. I think if you've got the opportunity to take one, you definitely should, especially if you haven't spent any money on a degree, because you get to train. We have apprenticeships at Microsoft, and most of them get to train either for 2 years or for 4 years. So you get to train, you get paid, and eventually, hopefully, you'll get a job when you finish. So it's definitely a good route to go down.
Okay, I feel like that's interesting. So, are there any ways by which, if anyone wants to go into like doing apprenticeship, like an internship kind of a thing, like what are the paths they need to follow? Like, maybe with Microsoft.
Yeah, so usually for most companies, they'll have a program for the apprenticeships. So I would say you just have to go on their website, find out when they open, because apprenticeships aren't like normal jobs. They are a program, so they'll open at a specific time of the year. Whether it's April, whether it's June, it's usually like autumn time. So around summer to autumn, they tend to open, and then they start in the September. So I would say 100% find out when they're open, find out the eligibility. So it's quite good at Microsoft, and I think it's the same at other companies where you don't have to be like early in career to have to do an apprenticeship. All the people do apprenticeships as well if you want to pivot over to a new career. So just make sure you understand the eligibility, because some apprenticeship will say if you already have a degree then you can't do the apprenticeship, or it's only open to a certain age group and things like that.
Yeah, and I would just like to add to what you said. I feel like people can take boot camps. There are some summer boot camps, like we're going into summer. Some of these companies offers like boot camps that you can take, or and then you can also do online courses. There are sites like there's one I really like, Udemy. Udemy is one place that there are lots of IT courses that you can take on there. So if you're starting or if you're a beginner, Udemy is a good place to go.
Even YouTube.
Even YouTube. Yeah,
YouTube is free. There are lots of courses.
Yeah, there are lots of resources on YouTube. Just putting it there that I want to be a data analyst, or how do I start my journey as a business analyst. There are so many resources even on YouTube. Yeah, and that reminds me, I have a YouTube channel as well. So the link is on my bio, so you can just subscribe to my channel, my YouTube page as well. So, but yeah, there are so many places that you can go to. Udemy is a good place. YouTube is a good place to go. Coursera is another place that I feel like, there are places that you can take up courses from scratch, and it can help you. There is a question here. So someone is saying, thank you for this space. I got an offer as a graduate product support, but I plan to be a cloud DevOps engineer, and I am a cloud practitioner. Oh, sorry, I'm not. And I am cloud practitioner certified. Should I refuse or should I accept it? Question is like,
why would you refuse it?
So he said he got an offer as a graduate product support. Yeah. And he plans to be a cloud DevOps. I mean, why should you refuse it?
In this economy, do not refuse any offers unless you have another one in the back pocket. Then I wouldn't refuse.
Yeah, I wouldn't refuse it as well. You shouldn't. Okay, so we have a good question here. Somebody's asking that what is the difference being a tech sales and a sales associate?
Okay, so is that like when they say sales associate, is that like in a different industry, I assume? Because tech sales is just technical sales, is selling technology. That's what it is.
Okay, so love it. I think you maybe rephrase your question. Yeah, I mean, a sales associate can be for whatever, right? So yeah, so tech sales is tech sales, and then sales associate could be for anything. And but yeah, I think we should just answer the question in the context of sales, right? Maybe just answer it.
Cool. So I guess in tech sales is focused on obviously selling technology. That's all it is. All types of technology and all we sell. And then the difference is between tech sales and other sales is that tech sales tend to be consultative and very long term. So we don't sell just like, oh, here's a pen, this is how much it costs. We don't sell like that. We tend to sell ask the customer, what problems do you have, and how can my solution help you? And that can take our projects can take a long time. Like some of my projects are a year long, 6 months. It's not just here's something and here's something in return. So I think that's the biggest difference. And I think with tech sales is you can't pretend to be an expert. There's a lot of old school selling with car salesmen and people like that. People used to say they don't know what they're talking about, so they would just be selling you anything. You just can't do that with tech sales because you're working with other technical people. They will know if you don't know what you're talking about. So I think that's the big difference, is just really having that in-depth knowledge in the solution that you're selling.
Okay. Thanks for that, Rosanna. Okay, I believe we answered your question. Love it. I'm not sure if we answered the question, but yeah, I mean, that's the difference basically. So we have a question here. Someone is saying, is this a question? It's not really a question. Said, I would prefer a one-on-one training for cybersecurity learning by myself and helping at all. Well,
it's tough learning by yourself.
It's really tough learning by yourself.
Consider a boot camp instead then.
Yeah, it's really tough learning by yourself, but what I would recommend is if you can get somebody who is also into that line, that can encourage you, or that could motivate you to to study. So for instance, now I want to start a journey into cybersecurity. I would get somebody who is in that path, so most likely I would be a little bit accountable to that person, you know. So I feel like that's something that you can do, because I know I've been there before, trying to learn all by myself. It's always so difficult learning by yourself. Yeah, and somebody is saying that you can register for virtual learning. Yeah, so that's one thing you can do. Like, you can, you know, a lot of these training centers now have like virtual learning that you can do a one-on-one section with them. And yeah, Udemy offers something like that. So Udemy offers virtual learning sections where you have like learning sections with the lecturer, or yeah. So you can do something like that, you know. Just trying to see here if we have more questions. Okay, so I'm just going to reiterate on, okay, yeah, so LinkedIn Learning too is another good place. Somebody, thanks for that, Adesam. Yeah, LinkedIn Learning is another good place. I forgot that off the top of my head. So yeah, LinkedIn is also a good place. Okay, someone says, thanks for answering my question, Uzana. I got a role as a business analyst apprentice recently. Okay. Yeah. The person is thanking you for that. Yeah, exactly. We're excited about this win. Okay. So we're just going to reiterate quickly what you know, what we went. We're just going through what we said, just to, if you are going into tech, or you're looking for how to go into tech and you don't have a technical background, the first thing that we discuss here is to have an open mind to learn. Also, take certifications. There are so many resources online. There's so many resources everywhere. And another thing that we mentioned is volunteering. You know, there are apprenticeship places, you know, companies that allow you to take internship, you know, so you can. And then another thing I would like to say is, don't be too big to start small. So don't be too big to start small. So like for me, I'm just going to mention my journey into IT security. I actually started as an IT help desk. So I started as a service desk analyst. I used to work as an IT help desk. So it's kind of really broadened my scope of knowledge, troubleshooting and doing all that different kind of troubleshooting thing, you know. I really hate software stuff, but I had to learn how to solve software problems, you know. So don't be too big to start small. Definitely. Right? Don't be too big to start small. Yeah. So if your background is, you know, in whatever space, there is always a room or for the tech side of that space that you are coming to. So don't be too big to start small. Don't say that you know, troubleshooting small issues is like not your thing. So you can actually now narrow and pick an interest in some of all the things that you are doing. So for me, I used to work as a service desk analyst, where I troubleshoot different kind of issues, security issues, hardware issues, software issues, application issues, everything, and anything. And you're just like, what is this today? So, and eventually I picked passion in cybersecurity. So, and that was how I started my own journey into the cybersecurity space. So for me, it wasn't like taking a book to learn or to read. It was just more like doing so many different things. And then I picked the passion in one thing. So don't be too big to start small. Somebody is saying, is service desk analyst I want. There are so many. Yeah, I mean, it's a good place to start. It's a good place to start. Somebody said, Ozana, your simplicity in dispensing information is absolutely amazing. Thank you, Tehila. Thank you so much. Yeah, that comment. I think there's a question about, you haven't answered my question. If my background is Yoruba language, how do I go into tech space? I don't know. I'm not sure. Yoruba language is like one of the languages in Nigeria, so I guess.
Yeah, my husband's Yoruba.
Oh, yes. I guess the person is just trying to say Java language, you know, and then Yoruba language. That's so funny, but yeah. I have till that. It's just okay. So Ozana, so anyone wanting to go into tech space, Ozana is a very good resource for that. Maybe just give us one or two words to encourage people that want to go. And then going into Microsoft is like a very big thing. You know, a lot of people say like, you know, Microsoft is like, but it's possible, right?
Yeah.
So people get offers, so can you just let us know how, if we want to get into, you know, working with Microsoft, what do we have to do? I mean, Microsoft generally, like, since we have you here.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of the biggest thing that I think you need to do is just try to understand what exactly you want to do. Like, tech is huge. Like, the tech industry is massive, and it's probably bigger than other industries because there's always new things happening and new jobs, right? Like, most people didn't know ChatGPT until 2 months ago, right? So that's a kind of a new space that you can kind of work on and stuff like that. So first, try to understand where in tech you want to be. Do you want to be a developer? Do you want to be in sales? Do you want to be in customer success? Do you want to be in project? Like, where in tech do you want to be? That should be always your first focus. Then once you focus on that, make sure you have the skills. Like, skills is the most important thing in tech. And that's what I always say to people. Like, someone who has no degree but can build their own application or can build their own website and have that on their CV is much more valuable to a tech company than someone who has a degree but has no strong actual skills to prove that they can do the job. So, you know, focus on your skilling. And then once you focus on your skilling, you know, go ahead and apply. Also network, talk to people, write on LinkedIn. If you're passionate about a space, like, so many people get job offers because of the posts that they post. I get hiring managers being like, "Oh, I've watched your YouTube video. You explain things really well. Would love I would love to talk to you about a job." Like, it's all about, you know, creating a brand for yourself and things like that. So make sure that you have that as part of your process as well, which is really, really good. But don't be discouraged. I know it's really competitive at the moment and at any other time. But yeah, just keep learning, keep going, and go. Yeah. And with Microsoft, I would say just try and apply. Like, people apply all the time. Competition is tough. I know people who have applied 4 or 5 times. They, you know, some people it takes them 20 years to get there. You just have to be show that you're passionate about the company. Show you actually understand what we're trying to do, and not just want to be at a big company, because everybody wants to be at a big company, right? So yeah, just be passionate about that.
Thank you so much. Thanks for that. Be passionate about it. I mean, I feel like that's a very big thing. Don't give up. You want to work in a specific place or in a specific space, you need to be passionate. Don't give up. Don't give up, and keep upskilling. So while you're applying and, you know, it's not coming yet, keep upskilling, you know, keep learning. It's keep learning. Okay, I guess this is just gonna be the last question. Yeah. I was thinking like 45 minutes for this section, but it looks like we're going over the time. Okay, so somebody said, can you consider creating a group for people who want to learn not for free? Well, maybe I will talk with Ozana on that. Maybe we will just plan something. I don't know what. Oh yeah, somebody said, I agree. Can you please create a small group? Yeah. It's a good certificate. Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to go through to see and make sure we're not missing out on anybody's question. And thank you, Peter. Thanks for that. I can see your comments. Okay. Okay. I'm so eager to learn, but learning alone is not easy. Yeah. Don't worry. Like I said, I'll talk to Ozana maybe later after this, and we'll just talk about this group thing and see if it's possible. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm just here to see how tech girls think. I will be at the nursing station soon. Thank you so much for joining us. Absolutely passion would keep you standing. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for the comments, and everyone who has joined. Okay, Ozana, I think we have one last question for you. That's the last one. So, okay, Oludi, Dari, this question is, it says, how do one thrive in a competitive IT market?
Yeah, in the competitive IT market is all about predicting future skills and what's going to be in demand, right? You need to listen to what is going on in the market at the moment and then ask yourself whether or not you have the skills to survive the next phase of kind of the technology, and also to be really competitive when you are submitting your resumes. Like at the moment, everyone's talking about data, everyone's talking about security. Those two things, we need skills in that, and that's how you stay competitive. You continuously keep learning, but you also are learning the right things at all times. And you know that, you take the risk and you say, look, I know that in the future, that quantum computing is going to be what's going to be going on. Let me start learning about that now so that I continue to be competitive. And also it's understanding what value you bring to the organization. So it could be your technical skill, and you can have very specific skills, right? Like there's only one person who created Python. Like, is that you? Or it can be your non-technical skills. You can just be really good with people in a room full of really technical people who are bad with people, and that's also valuable. Or you can have industry knowledge. So you could be an ex-nurse who wants to work in health tech. That's really valuable. If you're a nurse, right, you have lots of experience that the rest of us don't. So it's really about those two things, skills and value as well.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks for that. So just keep learning to stay competitive. Keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. Yeah, I am seeing someone say, I have my master's in social work. Now I want to transition in cybersecurity. Okay. Anyways, that's my question. But yeah, so just keep learning, keep learning. That's how to stay relevant in the tech space. Hosanna, thank you so much for coming on this live with us. And guys, please follow the Tech Corner. She has very good resources on on getting jobs, on thriving in the tech space. She has very, very good. I literally met her here on Instagram, and I love that page. And we got chatting, and now we're here talking. Thank you so much, Hosanna, for coming on this live. Yeah, someone say hello, Hosanna, huge fan. Yep, that's great. Thank you.
No worries.
Right. Yeah, do you want to say anything to us before we just call it off a day here?
I don't think there's much else I can say more than just like keep going. Like things will change, especially with the market. Like we will see things reopening, jobs will be coming. So just try and wait it out. So yeah, keep going on the tech stuff. Keep learning.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Hosanna. And yeah, thank you. If you want to drop now, you can. Thank you so much. And guys, again, like I said, please follow our page. Yeah, follow our page. She has very good resources on there. Thank you everyone for joining this live section. And we would consider the group thing that people were asking for. We'll talk with her, and then we'll see if we can come up with something. Thank you so much for joining, and I would save this live on my page. For those that couldn't join this section, I would save this live on there, and then maybe we'll just like I said, I have a YouTube channel as well. We'd also put it on YouTube as well for people to see. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Bye everyone.